What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Talking with Views, episode 213. And on today's episode, we got a lot to discuss. We got new jerseys across multiple teams in different leagues. Plus, we got NHL playoff picture right around the corner, so we're going to discuss what that looks like. And lastly, we got World Cup to talk about. Final teams are in, so we're going to discuss about that. But we got a lot to talk about. But first, we're going to head to the MLB. So we'll start this one off in the MLB. We'll start off with contracts. The Cubs have extended Pete Crow Armstrong to 6 years, $115 million. I love PCA. I think this is a great contract signing for both parties here. The contract will start in 2027, meaning he will be 31 when he becomes a free agent at the end of the contract. I expect PCA to really prosper big time in Chicago, and I think this contract is going to look really good in the future for both sides. Seattle announced that they also have signed Colt Emerson to 8 years, $95 million. Now, if you're wondering who Colt Emerson is, he's a prospect. He has 0 MLB experience. This is the largest contract ever handed out to a player that has never played an MLB game. The largest contract before was Milwaukee and Jackson Chourio, 8 years, $95 million. Or $65 million, excuse me. Wrote that incorrectly. $65 million, I believe. And Chourio, we've seen what he's done. Really nice contract in the long terms, but it's a big gamble. I mean, we've seen a couple guys get this. Cooper Pratt for Milwaukee, Luis Robert Jr. for Chicago, and Eloy Jimenez for Chicago. So it seems like the similar teams are doing this to try and get ahead of the market, I guess. We'll see if Seattle and Emerson is able to work out here. But again, we've never seen him in the MLB. It's a lot of pressure on this kid. $95 million for 8 years. Speaking of prospects, Pittsburgh announced that they have called out the #1 prospect in the MLB, Connor Griffin. So I expect him to play this weekend series. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. He's an infielder. There's not really a lot of set positions already taken by this roster, so I think it's wide open. If Griffin does pretty well, I can see him staying. Yet again, he's a young kid. I can see him coming up, play a little bit, and go back down to develop some more. But keep an eye out for Connor Griffin this weekend. Shohei Ohtani made his season debut on the pitching bump a couple days ago. He pitched 6 scoreless innings, looked really good. Now has the longest active scoreless innings pitched streak at 23 2/3 innings pitched. He also has the longest active streak for on-base streak, dating back to last season as well, at 37 games for Shohei. So even though his hitting has not been all that great, he's hitting underneath 200, I believe, as of right now. No home runs. And it's kind of been a struggle for him, but he is getting on base. He's helping out his team where he can, which is even on the pitching bump there. So not a great hitting debut, but a really nice season pitching debut for Shohei. A bizarre stat that I forgot to mention before, Johan Duran for the Philadelphia Phillies became the first closer to have an opening day save for the franchise. And the franchise has been around a long time. Yes, this is a little old news, but we did not have an episode of the weekly news last week. So just something to note there. Plus, the NL East is the first division for everybody to start the year 1-0 ever in an MLB division history. Very surprising as well, but you also got to think sometimes you play your own division as well. So not real surprising, but still NL East owns that record now. Now let's get into some jersey leaks and releases. We'll start off with the actual release of the new City Connect for the Atlanta Braves. This is a TBS-inspired uniform, supposedly. Baby blue base, Atlanta across the front with a lowercase a. Same thing for the hat, stylized-wise, but with just the little a on the front. Outlined that in red. It's a dark blue bill with a red stripe near where the hat crown meets the bill. For the collar of the jersey, it's dark blue and red. For the names, it's dark blue. For the numbers, it's white. The arm patch says ATL in the 90s TBS logo style, and white pants for the uniform. Now, personally, I am not a big fan of baby blue uniforms. They don't really do much for me, in my opinion, but yet again, It's kind of a classic look for certain teams. Certain teams do pull it off. Other teams I don't think are necessary to have that baby blue. Atlanta's kind of in that situation where I don't think it's necessary. They need a baby blue uniform, even though it is a classic look for them. Overall, what do I give it out of 10, which is a classic rating score here? I'm giving it about a 5.7. I don't really care for them that much. I think the white pants is fine, but some people saw baby blue Photoshop ones, then it kind of looks a little bit better than the white ones. Yet again, I don't think the uniform really speaks to me in that way. I don't really understand the TBS style outside of the used to play on TBS stations back in the 90s, but it doesn't do much for anybody outside of the Atlanta area, which I guess doesn't really matter at that point. But for me, not really all that special. We'll move on to some leaks now. We got San Diego. They're potentially going with a navy blue uniform, white font that says San Diego across the front. Orange and pink stripes on the arms, and the arm patch, kind of a Dia de los Muertos inspired looking arm logo with a female skeleton. Not a great picture of it, but this is the best picture we got. I'm okay with this if this does come out. It sounds like the hat is going to be either white or cream based hat, which could be interesting. Kind of looks more like a stylized hat that you buy just at a team store or lids, and not an on-field hat. But I'm not too opposed to it. But again, I'm not going to do any ratings here. I'll just say if I like them or not, because we do not know if these are 100% correct. For Baltimore, we have a white uniform with green sleeves, which I thought they were gray, but up close and personal, they actually are green. Across the front, it says "Be More" in a new font, but kind of boring font. Classic bird logo that we've seen on the hats before is back on the jersey on top of the R, which I really like that touch. The font is the same green outlined, is the same green that's on the shoulders outlined in orange, excuse me. The arm patch logo is a new arm logo that we haven't seen. It's a baseball with it saying Baltimore Orioles from the stoop to the yard for 10. So I'm okay with it. I think it looks all right. I want to see the whole uniform. I'm curious what the hat's going to look like. I'm hoping it has that classic Oriole bird on it. But yet again, it might be something new, maybe even a new logo that we haven't seen before on a hat for the Orioles. For Cincinnati, it looks like we're going to get a red-based uniform. It looks very similar to the stylized of the last one. Not saying Cincy across, though. It's going to be having that C logo that's on the hat on the front of the uniform. With the inverse colors, though, to match the uniform. The other side has the numbers in black, actually. So the red will have some red pinstripe in a different shade of red. And it looks like the sleeves will be red. It's also rumored to have black. We've seen both of those come out potentially. I've only seen a picture of the red one, so I'm only showing you guys the picture of the red. But it looks like there could be a rumor that there's no sleeves to this uniform, which I'm very surprised that a team's going that way. The league has kind of whittled them down to absolutely nothing, no sleeveless uniforms. I don't mind the sleeveless look, but I guess manufacturers cannot make a sleeveless baseball jersey for sale. If that is true, that kind of sucks. But if that is the case, the red sleeves could be because they just want to make it all one color. But we could see black sleeves because of the players wearing black sleeves underneath. So that one's really up for grabs. But it looks like the base of the uniform will be red with some red pinstripes. The new City Connect C with black numbers. Now we'll move on to Milwaukee. It looks like a blue-based uniform with a cream collar. It says Wisco across the front in that cream collar with the number as well. It looks like the player's name will be in orange with some orange outlined some of the numbers here. Not a big fan of this one at all. I think the past one was a little bit better, but yet I didn't even like the past one either. So I think it's 0 for 2 in my opinion for Milwaukee. For Kansas City, it looks like a white-based uniform with that new logo style that they had before on the old one, but in this case we have the R with the crown on the front. This is actually a purple to blue gradient for the stripes on the arms and the shoulders, and also on the numbers and logo on the front. So I think the colors actually look really nice. I think the last uniform was very good in my opinion. I love the dark blue. I like the stylized of the logos and the hat. This one, I think the colors look great. I don't really know the story behind the colors, so I'm curious to see if this is true and we get more of a story behind it. But I actually really like this from Kansas City. Texas came out with supposedly a burgundy-based uniform with a little bit of white or cream in there. And on the front, it says Tejas, Tejas. in all capitalized, really boring font. That's also in red, outlined in the cream. The numbers are the same way, but the name is only in cream. Really hate this. I hope this is not the uniform. I didn't like the last one that much, but the last one had a lot more thought, and actually looked pretty good in the end. Compared to this one, it's definitely going to be a miss. Pittsburgh's the last one. They're a black base uniform with a like a dirty gold looking font color that says Pirates on the front, definitely giving off a Pirates style theming of font. I don't even sure how to pronounce it or say it, kind of thing, but it gives off a definitely a pirate theme. New arm patch logo we've never seen before with the pirate head, swords, and their inaugural year. And then also PGH, which was on the front of the last City Connect, which I did not like that much. I think this one looks a lot better. Definitely fits the theming of the other uniforms they have, but this will be the third black uniform that they potentially could be wearing this upcoming season. And if that is the case, I think it's a missed opportunity. A lot of black in their uniforms. They had the Pittsburgh, they had the P, and now potentially they had the new Pirates City Connect in black. So what do you guys think? Do you guys like these uniforms? Again, these are not all confirmed. They're just leaks. I expect them to probably be all confirmed fairly soon by the next couple of months here. But again, a lot of time to change these uniforms for the teams. All right, we'll head to the NHL now. We'll start off with the firing of Bruce Cassidy from the Vegas Golden Knights. Not much time between now and the postseason, which Vegas looks like they're going to make the postseason once again. Looks like they're not going to be able to win the Pacific, though, the way they've been playing. But they have hired John Tortorella to finish off the year, and I expect him to probably be here next season as well. Really huge signing when it comes to coaches, especially this late in the season. I guess Vegas is just not seeing much with Cassidy. It's really late. We've seen people do this before. It's not really common, but Torts going into that locker room, I think is definitely going to revive that team, potentially be a sneaky underdog team for the West for Vegas Golden Knights. Ovechkin scored his 31st goal the other night, tying him with Teemu Selanne for the third most goals by a 40-plus-year-old player in the league in a single season. So Ovi, best goal scorer in NHL history, continued on with that streak. The record of actually most goals by a 40-plus-year-old belongs to Gordie Howe. He's got 44 goals on the season. I don't think Ovi's going to hit that number, but the next round up is at 36, so I think he probably could hit that. He's going to have to go on a little bit of a tear here, but I wouldn't put it past the best goal scorer in the NHL history to hit 36 goals in the season. Colorado's Cale Makar exited Monday's game with a lower body injury. It sounds like he will be missing some time. Again, I don't know how long is some time, but head coach did say some time. So hopefully he's back for playoffs for Colorado's sake. But again, we don't know the extent of the injury. Heading over to Anaheim, last week they have entered tying the NHL record of most final 2-minute game time or game-winning goals in a season. The 08-09 Detroit Red Wings and the 05-06 Edmonton Oilers were two teams that did that. So they entered last week with 10. And then ended up having a game tying goal against Toronto on Monday. So now they hit the 11. So now they own that record for that. Unfortunately, the Ducks did lose that game, but they still now own the record for most game tying or game winning goals in the last 2 minutes of an NHL season. The big thing about these two teams that are in front of them, Detroit and Edmonton, both those teams made the playoffs. Both those teams went far in the playoffs, and both those teams made it to the Stanley Cup final. So it's the kind of thing where maybe this team does go on a tear, get some come from behind wins in the playoffs and able to do it. Yet again, watching the team, they haven't done very good when it comes to keeping the lead. Can they kind of figure that out once the season ends and gets into the playoffs? I think they probably could. I think having this stat and knowing that the game's not over till over is huge for the young kids. So there's a lot to take away from this, but just something I definitely wanted to note and definitely have going into the postseason here, because we're going to talk about playoff picture now. We'll start off with the East Coast, though. Definitely the better of the two divisions or conferences for the season. So we'll start off with the Atlantic. Buffalo has 100 points, Tampa Bay at 98, and Montreal with 96. For the Metro, Carolina at 100, Pittsburgh at 92, New York Islanders at 89. For the wild card, it's Boston at 94, Columbus at 88. The teams are in the hunt still, though. Ottawa at 86, Detroit at 86, Philly at 86, Washington at 85. So very, very clustered wild card right there. 3 teams at 86, 1 team at 85. Really, anything could happen with those wins, or even just getting to overtime. Big for all those teams. When it looks to be for the conference or for the divisions, the Atlantic and the Metro, I still think Buffalo is going to win that. Yeah, I know they're only 2 points ahead, but Buffalo looks really good this year. I could see a sneaky one of Montreal actually getting past that. And I wouldn't definitely not put it past Tampa Bay, but my money is on Buffalo to win the Atlantic. For the Metro, I still think Carolina is the better of those 3 teams that are ahead of them. I don't think Pittsburgh is enough to get them leapfrogged in front of them unless Carolina just fumbles the bag near the end of the season. But I really don't think so. Carolina's really good in the regular season, so I think they'll be fine there. But for the wild card, I still think Boston probably is going to hold on to it for how quote unquote big their lead is. It's not really that big. It's 6 points. That's only 3 wins. Boston could lose 3 games. Someone else can win 3 games. And we have a whole new wild card. But I think Boston stays. And I want to say Columbus sticks around. But I really like Detroit. Detroit just has not been playing all that well. I wish it would be Detroit. I'm going to go Columbus, but wouldn't be surprised if Ottawa even got in there as well, because Ottawa would be a tough team to face in the playoffs. They could be a first-round exit, but it would be a hard-fought game for whoever would have to face them in the playoffs. We'll head over to the West. There's only 2 teams that actually have clinched the West. That's Colorado and Dallas out of the Central. Colorado with 108 points, Dallas with 100 points, Minnesota at 94. For the Pacific, it's Anaheim at 87, Edmonton 85, Vegas at 82. For the wild card, it's Utah at 82 and LA at 78. The teams are still in the hunt. San Jose at 77, Nashville 77, Winnipeg 76, Seattle 75, St. Louis at 74. There's only 2 teams that have been eliminated. That's Vancouver and the New York Rangers. So talking about the West here, obviously I think the Central is stacked. It sucks that those 3 teams are going to have to go up against each other when it comes to the first and second rounds of the playoffs. So we're only going to see one of these teams get to the conference finals, where I definitely could see like Dallas, Colorado in the conference finals for the Stanley Cup berth. When it comes to the Pacific, it's really a rough division. Obviously, I'm an Anaheim fan, so I'm okay with it. But I mean, Edmonton, you wish Edmonton would be better for the sake of if you like McDavid and want him to do well, but his team is just not doing anything around him. Definitely goaltending is still the problem there. Vegas, again, they hired Torts. It could be good. It could not do anything for them as well. It could be a really bad experiment, really late experiment for them to have, but who knows? I mean, only time will tell with that. And for the wild card, Utah is loving their position. 82 points right now. They're the first wild card. They'd have to face Anaheim if the playoffs ended today, and they'll take that any day of the week. Going through the Pacific over the Central, they'd definitely be happy with that. That second wild card spot right now is LA. San Jose got a big win yesterday. Nashville just got leapfrogged because of LA winning. I think either 3 of those teams are going to do it. I don't think Winnipeg has enough. I don't think Seattle is good enough to get it, and I wouldn't want to see St. Louis in that position. So I think of those 3, I would want LA just for having Kopitar's last season. Let him have a chance at least one playoff series, but having to go through the Central being that second team is not going to be fun at all. So I would think LA should get through there, but LA's been hot and cold. Nashville actually might have the best chance of those 3, but give me LA to make it out of there. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think the playoff picture is pretty much set? Do you guys see a team out of the wild card getting into that spot? All right, let's head to the world of racing. We'll start off with Formula One. Kimi Antonelli goes back-to-back with wins at the Chinese Grand Prix and Japanese Grand Prix, excuse me. So that's huge wins for not just Mercedes, but Kimi Antonelli now, because now he obviously is leading the drivers' standings. We got some news before we get into those standings. Max Verstappen of Red Bull has announced that he's considering retirement from Formula One after this season. Sounds like for him, it's just not as fun anymore. Not winning by large margins. A 4-time champion could be hanging up the suit. Personally, I don't know why he would. I mean, I know Red Bull's not great, but I would at this point maybe consider moving on to a different team. I mean, there's teams out there that I think would take a Max Verstappen any day of the week. Now, Red Bull has a lot of money. If another team who is not up to Red Bull standard, like a Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren would want to take a Verstappen, then I definitely wouldn't want to leave Red Bull, even though Red Bull has not looked all that great the last 2 years. Verstappen seems to be doing all the work there. So if he leaves the sport as a whole, I'd be very surprised. But if he does, come over to NASCAR. We'll take you. I think NASCAR would be a fun trial run for him. Give him a race or two, see if he enjoys it. I definitely think the road courses he would like a lot. The normal oval track, I don't think he'd be a big fan of. I still don't think he would do it, but I think it'd be fun to watch a race or two of Max Verstappen in a NASCAR stock race car. We'll head to the Formula One driver standings to start this one off. Kimi Antonelli is in first at 72 points. Number 2, George Russell at 63. Number 3, Leclerc at 49. Hamilton in 4th at 41. Norris in 5th at 25. Piastri in 6th with 21. Behrman at 7 with 17. Gasly at 15 and 8th. Verstappen in 9th with 12. Lawson at 10th with 10. Lindbaum is in 11th. Hadjar at 12. Bortoleto at 13, Seitz at 14, Ocon at 15, Colapatino at 16th, Hulkenberg at 17, Albon at 18, Bottas at 19, Perez at 20, Alonso at 21, Stroll at 22. The Formula One Constructor Championship, Mercedes leads it in first, Ferrari at 2, McLaren at 3, Haas at 4, Alpine at 5, Red Bull at 6, Racing Bulls at 7, Audi at 8, Williams at 9, Cadillac at 10, Aston Martin at 11. For Formula One, there will not be a race this week. There will not be a race this whole month because of the cancellation of the Saudi Grand Prix and the Bahrain Grand Prix. So the May 3rd Miami track race will be the next race on the schedule for Formula One. So a lot of time for teams to make adjustments moving forward. We'll head over to NASCAR where they're at Martinsville this past weekend, and Chase Elliott got the win there. Really tight race, actually. And surprised that Elliott was able to hold off everybody to get the win there. So now here's the standings. Reddick still in number 1, Blaney at 2, Hamlin at 3, Elliott moves up to 4, Byron at 5, Gibbs at 6, Bell at 7, Keselowski at 8, Larson at 9, Buescher at 10, Wallace at 11, Logano at 12, Preece at 13, Van Gisbergen at 14, and Hocever at 15. Suarez has the last spot in the playoffs if they were to end right now at 16. McDowell at 17, Cedric at 18, Chastain at 19, Allmendinger at 20. Those last 4 wouldn't be missing the playoffs, but there's still a lot of NASCAR left in the season. There is no race this week for the top guys in NASCAR. There is the truck race, and I don't know what they call it now. I think the Camping World or the Sprint Cup Series, the smaller guys. Those guys are still racing, but there is no race this week for Formula One or NASCAR. So find something else to watch, I guess. All right, let's head to college sports. We'll mash this all into one. Women's National Hockey Championship goes to Wisconsin, back-to-back champions. They beat Ohio State 3-2. That's a 9th title in school history, so congrats to the Badgers there. For men's college hockey, we're down to the Frozen Four. Games start on Thursday. You guys were probably watching this either late Thursday or even Friday, maybe in the weekend. So those games may have ended already, but here's the Frozen Four. It's Michigan, North Dakota, Wisconsin, and Denver. Michigan versus Denver for the semis, and Wisconsin versus North Dakota. Michigan's journey, they beat Bentley 5-1 and Minnesota Duluth 4-3. For Denver, they beat Cornell 5-0 and upset Western Michigan, the reigning national champs, 6-2. For Wisconsin, they had to beat Dartmouth, and they beat them 5-1, and then upset Michigan State 4-3. And lastly, North Dakota's journey, they beat Merrimack 3-0 and Quinnipiac 5-0. So, of these 4 teams, preseason and early in the season, everyone was talking about the Big Ten and the NCHC as being the top 2 conferences. Obviously, being an Arizona State fan, I root for the NCHC. So I would love to see either North Dakota or Denver get that win, but watching earlier in the year, Michigan, I think, is the best team in that preseason and best of the beginning of the part of the season. And they've held on to that being a top 4 school all season long. They're the number 1 team in this tournament. I think it's their tournament to lose. I think Michigan gets it done against Denver and gets it done between the winner of Wisconsin and North Dakota. I think Michigan wins the national championship. If they don't, obviously I'm going to hope that it's either North Dakota or Denver. But I think Michigan really is a very good team. I think they get the job done for their national championship. All right, move on to baseball. We'll just do rankings this week for baseball and softball. So we'll start off with baseball. No movement for 1 through 3. UCLA gets 1, Texas gets 2, Georgia Tech gets 3. Mississippi State gets +2 to 4, Georgia gets +2 to 5. North Carolina gets +7 to 6, Florida State gets +7 to 3, Southern Miss gets +3 to 8. Oregon State gets +7 to 9. Virginia drops 1 to 10. Oklahoma drops 3 to 11. USC stays put at 12. West Virginia gets +4 to 13. Coastal gets a +1 to 14. Oregon gets +5 to 15. Alabama goes from unranked to 16. Arkansas and Auburn both drop 13 to 17 and 18. Nebraska gets a +5 to 19. A&M gets +5 to 20. Florida, Boston College, and UCF go from unranked to 21, 22, 23. Kentucky drops 5 to 24, and ASU drops 3 to 25. The teams that drop out this week was NC State, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Notre Dame. Now head over to softball. Texas, Texas Tech, Oklahoma don't move at all. That's 1, 2, and 3. Nebraska and Alabama jump up 2 to 4 and 5. Arkansas gets a +3 to 6. Florida drops 2 to 7. Tennessee drops 4 to 8. UCLA drops 1 to 9. Florida State, Georgia, and Virginia Tech stays put at 10, 11, 12. Arizona also stays put at 13. Washington gets a +2 to 14. A&M gets to stay put at 15. Mississippi State drops 2 to 16. Virginia +1 to 17. Oregon drops 1 to 18. Duke, LSU, or Oklahoma State stay put at 19, 20, 21. GCU gets a +1 to 22. ASU gets a +2 to 23. Stanford drops 2 to 24. And UCF goes from unranked to 25. The team that dropped out this week, South Carolina from 24th. Other receiving votes, the top 5 was South Carolina, Louisville, Clemson, Boston University, and Ole Miss. All right, let's head to the world of soccer. We'll start off with the signing of Anton Griezmann to MLS's Orlando City, announced from the club themselves. Atletico Madrid will, I guess, give him up because the contract will end after the World Cup. So we will not see him before the World Cup. After the World Cup, we'll see Anton Griezmann in a purple uniform. The final World Cup spots have been filled. We'll go into who got the spots and who they beat to get in there. So Bosnia and Herzegovina defeated Italy in penalty kicks. This is the 3rd straight World Cup Italy will miss, and they're a top 15 team in the FIFA rankings. A really bad loss for them, but Bosnia getting the job done even on home soil as well. Italy also announced that the following staff members are announced that they are resigning. The Federation President, Gabriele Gravina, Gianluigi Buffon. There was no label on what he did for the team, but Buffon was part of that. And Giordano Gatsuo. I doubt I said that correctly, but the head coach of the Italian team will also resign as well. So those are 3 big names gone from Italy soccer. And Italy soccer, I don't know what has happened to them. The last 2 World Cups that they did go to, they were out in the group stage, and now the last 3 World Cups, they will not even be there. And this is the biggest World Cup we've ever seen when it comes to team-wise and even nation-wise, because you got 3 nations hosting it, 48 total teams. I don't know what's going on with this team anymore. I mean, this federation still puts up good performances, able to get big wins. They're still top 15 in FIFA rankings, yet they can't qualify for a World Cup. So I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know where they go from now, but I'm excited for Bosnia because you can tell it was a very exciting moment for them, not just to beat Italy, but to do it and get into the World Cup. Other team, Sweden, despite not winning a qualifying game, gets into the World Cup. They beat Poland 3-2 on an 87th minute goal by the team. A really awesome moment for Sweden. Not a good qualifying rounds, but because of some weird tiebreakers and things like that, they were able to get into this playoff, ended up making it count, getting back-to-back wins for their nation. Turkey, I don't know what they call. I like calling them Turkey. Turkey gets the job done. They beat Kosovo on the road 1-0. Czechia beat Denmark in PKs in front of the home crowd. So big win there for Czechia. And Denmark, really not surprised that they didn't make it, unfortunately. DR Congo, DR, I'm not sure what they pronounce it. I'm going to call it DR Congo. They beat Jamaica in extra time 1-0. And Iraq holds off Bolivia for 2-1 final. So that finalizes the final groups, and let's get into who's in what group now. There's a big graphic here on the YouTube, so if you guys are not on the YouTube, check it out. But if you guys are, this is what the groups look like. Group A has Mexico, South Africa, Korea, Republic, and Czechia. Group B has Canada, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Qatar, and Switzerland. Group C, Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, Scotland. Group D, USA, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. Group E, Germany, Curacao, Cote d'Ivoire, or Ivory Coast, and Ecuador. Group F has Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, Tunisia. Group G has Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. Group H has Spain, Cabo Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay. Group I has France, Senegal, Iraq, and Norway. Group J, Argentina, Algeria, Austria, Jordan. Group K, Portugal, DR Congo, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. And Group L has England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. So some really nice groups in there when it comes to, you're going to have probably 3 or 4 really good games in those certain groups. We'll talk about the hosts real quick. Group A, the Mexico, South Africa, Korea Republic, and Czechia. Now looking at that group, I think Mexico probably should get out of that. They look pretty solid in their friendlies the last 2. But I still don't know because Mexico just hasn't been the normal Mexico we've seen the last couple of years. The last year or so, they really haven't done too much. But I think at home, it's really hard to beat them. Give me Mexico to get out of that group. For Group B, which is Canada, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Qatar, and Switzerland. I think Bosnia actually is going to give Canada a run for their money. Switzerland should be pretty good. I think Switzerland gets out of that group as the winner. I think Canada does get out. Qatar is really not that great. Bosnia and Canada, I think, are going to battle for that second and third spot. But I think both are going to be good enough to get into the next round because third place teams are also going to make into the next round. So I think those 3 teams do make it out. Qatar is going to be the one that everybody beats up on. And the last host, the U.S., that's Group D, USA, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. I would like to say the U.S. get out of this group easily. After watching the last 2 games, which we'll talk about in a second, I would not agree with that. Paraguay is not great. They beat them before. They should be able to do that. It's not going to be easy. Same with Australia. They beat them before, but it's not going to be easy. And I think Turkey actually is probably going to win this group. I think Turkey might be a little bit better. U.S. haven't beat a European team in 8 straight matches. The longest record is 10. I think there's a good chance we go up to 8. Or from 8, because we're going to face Germany a couple days before World Cup for the tune-up games. I think we'll probably lose that one, and we might lose to Turkey, so we might tie that record at 10 straight European losses, which I obviously don't want to see, but knowing what this team has been doing, it's not really a good situation. So I think Turkey actually wins that group, but we'll check to see what happens when it comes to it. But now talking about the friendlies for the U.S. men's national team, they lost to Belgium 5-2 and lost to Portugal 2-0. I think both games were atrocious. There's a couple good highlights there. I think both Matt Freese and Matt Turner honestly did not play that bad, but I think what Turner did in their first game still isn't enough to get him past Matt Freese. I don't know really why they gave him a game because I think Matt Freese going into this window was still the number 1 goalie for Pochettino, and I still don't think what Matt Turner did was enough to get him leapfrogging in front of Matt Freese. So I think Matt Freese keeps that job. Other takeaways, I think Pulisic's struggle is definitely evident and a real big concern. He has not done well at club, hasn't scored this season for AC Milan. Coming over to the quote-unquote World Cup games by Pochettino standards, he looked really bad. He did not do much. He wasn't able to score. He made a couple plays, but he looked slow out there. I don't think Pulisic is going to... I would like to say he's going to get over that, but as of right now, I don't have a lot of hope for him getting out of this funk. The defensive inconsistency, laziness, and sloppy-looking defense plays, I guess, if you want to call it that, is definitely something to be concerned about. I think Chris Richards didn't play too bad, but there's other guys around him that just did not get it done. Trusty was another one I didn't think he played all that bad, but really not that great there. And the last one, this might be the worst World Cup anticipation for a U.S. team in a long time. I don't think there's a lot of people that are real excited when it comes to the team's performances. I think excited for the World Cup to be here and to watch the World Cup every day for a whole month, I think is getting people excited. But for the U.S. sake, their performances, their fans, I do not think there's a lot of high anticipation for them, not just to get out of the group, but to do something in the round of 32s and the round of 16. I'd figure that this team does get out of the group, but again, I mean, Turkey, I think, is a good team. They're probably going to beat them up. Paraguay and Australia, as of right now, I think it go either way with either of those squads. So if you don't get out of the group, it's definitely going to be a missed opportunity. Having the World Cup on home soil and not getting out of the group is a big disgrace. But we'll see what happens. Roster for this team will be announced late May, so we'll see what that roster looks like, see if there's any bubble players that played in the last 2 games, got themselves into a World Cup conversation. And we'll end the soccer talk on FIFA rankings. Number 1, France. Number 2, Spain. Number 3, Argentina. Number 4, England. Number 5 is Portugal. Brazil at 6, Netherlands at 7, Morocco at 8, Belgium at 9, Germany at 10, Croatia at 11, Italy at 12, Colombia at 13, Senegal at 14, Mexico at 15, USA at 16, Uruguay at 17, Japan at 18, Switzerland at 19, Denmark at 20, Iran at 21, Turkey at 22, Ecuador at 23, Austria at 24, and lastly, Korea Republic at 25. Let's head over to the cleanup now. We'll start off with the news that the new rivalry uniforms that we're seeing last year will be coming to 2 new divisions this season. That'll be the AFC South and the NFC North. So very curious to see what the Chicago Bears are going to do. I'm hearing rumors that it's going to be kind of a City Connect looking uniform with the flag on there, but instead of red, we're going to see orange, but we're going to see a little bit of light blue. I actually would be very excited to see that, but obviously nothing is confirmed. That's the only news that I have when it comes to these uniforms, though, for leaks and potential spoilers for those jerseys. The Atlanta Falcons announced that they got new uniforms and released them earlier Thursday morning. Helmets will be the same, that matte black uniform with the Falcons logo. The homes are now red with the white numbers on the front and obviously the shoulders. Logos on the arms for the normal primary logo. That will be on the arms. White pants to match the red. So no more black for them. For the white aways, we'll see red numbers on the front and on the shoulders, logo on the arms, and we see white or black pants being used in the photo shoots for the white uniform. So as a whole, I think these uniforms are terrible. I don't think they're good, but I do not like the last ones either. I don't think the last ones look all that great. Personally, I think the way that the NHL is going, the way that the MLB is going, throwbacks are everything to fans. I mean, it makes a lot of money. It goes a long way. You see Tennessee go out with the throwback new rebrand with the new colors and looking like the Houston Oilers. I think Atlanta missed the opportunity to go from a rebrand from the more modernized look to a classic throwback Michael Vick era kind of style uniform. Even though you could have put maybe a little modern twist on it, they didn't even go that route. I think it's a missed opportunity. I do not like these uniforms. I'm giving it a 2.8 out of 10. Again, just do not think the rebrand was the right direction for Atlanta. Las Vegas announced that they have signed Atlanta's ex-quarterback Kirk Cousins to 5 years, $172 million. We'll see how it goes. I don't mind Kirk Cousins, but I do not like Vegas, and I don't think it's going to work out well for the Raiders, but we'll see what happens there. And the Raiders announced, or the league announced, that the Raiders will be hosting the 2029 Super Bowl, so we'll be back in Las Vegas for 2029. Sad news, though, out of the golf world, Tiger Woods was arrested and charged with a DUI, property damage, and refusal to submit after another car accident. He also announced that he is stepping away from the world of golf to focus on his health. I personally think this is the last straw for Tiger Woods being able to play at a major for golf. I do not think it is in his abilities anymore that he can do it because of his health problems, because of all the controversy now that he's going to continue to have over him when it comes to the world outside of golf. I think a lot of people still love him. I know he's probably got to be one of the biggest names still in golf, even though he doesn't play. But it's definitely tough news to hear again. He got into an accident and he got into it because of substance abuse of some sort. So hopefully he gets the help he needs. Hopefully he could prove me wrong. But right now it just does not feel like we're going to see Tiger Woods on the golf course ever again. All right, let's head to the games of the weekend. We'll start off in the NHL. Bruins versus Lightning. That's Saturday at 2 p.m. For college hockey, Thursday, there are games. So if I get this out early enough and you guys are able to hear it, you'll probably be able to watch the end of those games. If not, Saturday, though, for sure, is National Championship game on 2:30 on ESPN. MLB, we got Brewers versus Royals, a 3-game set. College baseball, we got number 12, USC versus number 1, UCLA. College softball, number 1, Texas versus number 5, Alabama. For NBA, we got Spurs versus Nuggets, Saturday at 12 p.m. on Amazon Prime. And for college basketball, we got the Final Four, Illinois versus UConn, Saturday at 3:09. And we got Michigan versus Arizona Saturday at 5:49 on TBS, TNT, HBO Max, all those stations for both those games. So they'll be back to back on the same network. All right, guys, that will do for this episode. Thank you guys for listening. 213 episodes in the books. We appreciate you guys so much for checking this episode out. There's a lot to talk about. There's going to be more to talk about when it comes to now playoff picture for the NHL. MLB is ramping up. We got NFL starting to get some more talk when it comes to rebrands. The draft will be coming up, so we'll probably talk a little bit about that and a lot more to discuss. World Cup is going to be less than 80 days away, so we got to talk about that as well. So there's a lot to talk about. Make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, the bell icon so you guys are notified when episodes like this and other ones drop. If you guys haven't already, check out the most recent ones of the channel. Definitely easier to watch on the YouTube channel. We talk about the uniforms for the World Cup. Really fun episode, lighthearted, really easy watch for you guys. But make sure you guys watch some sports this upcoming weekend, so there's a lot of good stuff, and we'll see you guys later.